Welcome back to hashtag adulting, everybody. I'm Zach Peter.
And I'm Abigail Frere.
How is Ohio life doing for you, boo? I am like sweating my balls off in LA. It's so hot.
You know, I feel like people are dressed the same way. It's 60 today and it's been in like the 40s and 50s and like all the neighbors are out in their shorts and like tank tops and I'm over here like it's freezing.
Oh my God. I have boob sweat and I don't even have boobs. But
So
at least,
true.
I think right now I'd rather have the cooler weather than the hotter weather.
I have to say, being stuck inside, it's definitely better to have that, because if I was back home, it would be not cool. Like, it's torture not being able to use the pool or
especially because like you're not really seeing anybody. So like normally I have to reapply natural deodorant like 8 times a day. But like right now I don't have anybody to see, so nobody's gonna be smelling me. But now I'm like, I need to apply some natural deodorant just for me so I don't have to smell me. It's a vibe. So today we have a very fun guest.
We do.
You brought her to my attention, and I've been obsessed with her content ever since. She's great. So she's a writer, she's a creator, she's a speaker, she's a leader. She's just like a quadruple threat that's like taking over the world right now. And I'm hoping that today she can help me find a little more body confidence, because like I'm home right now and I can feel like my love handles and my cellulite are like winking at me every morning. So I'm just like, I just want somebody to help me love my body a little more. Please welcome Miss Mik Zazon.
Hi, I'm so thankful I'm here. Thank you guys.
Of course.
I'm so thankful you're here.
Yeah,
I would have my butt cheeks wave high, but they're a little jiggly at the moment.
Hey, no, all butts are welcome. All bodies are welcome. And those winks that you're talking about, those are good winks. They're not bad winks.
Oh, trust me. When I'm walking downtown LA and the homeless men are like, hey, nice butt, cutie. I'm like, that's right.
I love it.
Wink away. So Mik, what we do typically when we open the show up is we play a little game called Espresso Yourself. So it's where I start in a sentence and then you're going to finish it for me. Just kind of lets our audience get to know you better, breaks the ice as a guest as well. So we're going to get started with that first, and then we're going to dive into kind of what makes you tick and what got you to being where you're at today.
Awesome.
So the first sentence, and this is going to be like quarantine edition because it's a little bit different right now, but the first is, I can't start my quarantine morning without
coffee.
A
lot of coffee.
Is that normal for you regularly as well? Okay.
Yeah.
We're coffee addicts.
Yeah. During quarantine, I've been doing word searches too. That's been awesome.
Oh, we've not got that answer yet. Coffee, we get a decent amount, coffee, tea, but the word searches is great. What prompts that?
What was that?
Oh, what prompts, like what made you want to start doing word searches?
Being on technology so much, I was sitting on my couch one night and I realized that every single night that went by, I would add more technology to my space, whether it be my phone, my computer, then it was my iPad while the TV was on. And I was reflecting and I was like, Mik, this is not okay. This is not okay. So I ordered word searches off of Amazon, and I'm a huge puzzler too.
Okay. And Zach, I think I cut you off. What were you saying?
Has your coffee intake or your caffeine intake, has that progressed or gone down now that you're home? Because like me, now that I'm home and not really moving around, but I'm still consuming the same amount of coffee, I'm like, I'm gonna add a little more, and it's not a cute vibe.
It was like that for a week, and then I did some more reflecting, and I said, "Nuh-uh, Mik, this is not happening. We're gonna do everything possible to normalize the situation because it's not gonna be good for your mental health." So for a week, it was pretty bad, and then I started doing more normal things like I did in my pre-quarantine life, and my caffeine intake went back to the same.
When you balanced out.
Right?
Yes.
Right? So with quarantine, when you go to the gym or when you're working out during quarantine, what do you do?
So I don't really go to the gym
Okay.
that much, even in pre-quarantine, and that's because I enjoy myself most when I'm moving my body outside in all different kinds of weather. I'm known for doing workouts in the snow and the rain and when it's nice out. And I'm a firm believer in doing what's most kind to your body in that moment when it comes to moving. And for me being outside, it's like me thanking the earth that I'm able to breathe. And it's just like this full circle thing. Like I can move. My body is okay because I'm able to talk, walk, and do all of these things. And the earth is like a big part of that.
Okay. And is it running that you do outside mostly, or do you just be like, is it different all the time, or do you have like a go-to?
It's different all the time. I have weights at home, so sometimes I incorporate weight training and resistant band training. I'm not a runner. I hate running. You will never find me running anywhere unless my dog is pulling me somewhere.
Yeah.
But I walk with my dog a lot, so that's where I get most of my movement from. But the gym and I don't really have a great relationship. We never had. So being in there can be triggering when I'm in a bad mental space. So I like to keep it outside.
Okay, I like that. Well, I feel sexiest when
I feel sexiest when I am wearing my bra and underwear and dancing in my apartment without a care in the world. It brings my mood up so much, and I just feel like a boss bitch.
Which leads us into our last question. I feel most like a boss when
Yes, when I'm dancing. I'm a firm believer that dancing to your favorite 90s song on your worst day is the one thing that will make your day a little bit better. Mine is Britney Spears. Love dancing to old Britney Spears and NSYNC and all of those oldies.
Yes. What do you have a favorite song? Or is it just like
it's honestly, I just put on 90s playlist on Spotify.
90s, okay. I love Spotify for that. They always help you out. So
Spotify is great. We love Spotify because we're on Spotify.
We are, yes, we are on Spotify.
Yes.
Shameless little plug. So talk to us about kind of your path and what you're very outspoken about body positivity, but I feel like you're one of the few people that is not, I think with a lot of body positivity, we see people kind of hating on the opposite of them as well. And you don't see that with you, which is actually what really drew my attention is it wasn't, hey, I'm a plus size model and I hate skinny bitches, or, anything super drastic. And I feel like the drastic people are the ones that are getting a lot of attention. And for me, yours was just like, love your body no matter what it is. So how'd you get there? What was your journey kind of like for that?
Yeah, I think where my perspective comes on that is because I have been plus size, I have been straight size, and I have been severely underweight for my body type. So I've been in a lot of different bodies, and I've had to learn how to cope with that as I struggled with 3 different eating disorders for 6 years from age 17 until 2023. I had struggled heavily with mental illness, depression, anxiety, and learning disabilities. And I also went through binge eating disorder, bulimia, and orthorexia, which not a lot of people know about. And orthorexia, for those of you who don't know, it's when obsessive eating goes to the next level and you aren't really able to live your best life without thinking about food and exercise. And so I had to deal with all of that. I had to deal with me buying plus size clothing for the first time. I had to deal with me selling my clothes because I couldn't fit into them anymore. I had to deal with navigating through what does exercise mean to me right now? How can I be my best self in this moment? And so from the age of 17, that's when I first dieted, and it was one of those 30-day cleanse challenges. So that really set the tone of what exercise and nourishing my body meant. And it was such a complete, like, it was almost like someone was putting a mask over my face, or like someone was putting me in a movie theater and like brainwashing me in that moment, saying, you know, this is how you should eat, this is how you should move, this is how you should be with other people. And so I followed the rules of what people thought I was supposed to be like, because I was always the odd one out. I never listened to my own intuition in any situation. So as I struggled with a lot of that, I also went through an abusive relationship. So that really changed the course of my life. And I had to deal with a lot of adversity. And so that's where my wisdom comes from, because I know that at my worst, I was my most defensive. And I know that that doesn't come from a bad place. That comes from a lack of understanding. And
Right.
so when I was size 00, I was lecturing people on why I was the healthiest and why what I was doing was the only right way. And then when I was straight size, I was doing the same thing. I was trying to convince people, but more so trying to convince myself that this was the healthiest thing possible. And then when I began recovery at age 23, it was a really big shift, because for the first time in my life, I really got to step in the shoes of somebody that was, looked down upon their whole entire lives, because we have been sitting in this movie theater the whole time, being brainwashed, saying like health is only one size, eating healthy only means, eating vegetables, and you're supposed to suppress your appetite and all of these things. So it comes from experience, and I love to educate people to step in someone else's shoes and to think about the big picture, and to constantly ask yourself questions like, why am I defensive about this? Why am I questioning this? Is what I'm doing healthy? Is what I'm doing the kindest thing that I can possibly do for myself and others in this second?
Have you found that being stuck in quarantine, because I feel like a lot of people are really struggling right now with maybe, and I know we've all kind of made a joke out of it. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear those sirens. They're coming to arrest me because I didn't wear a mask this morning. I don't know if you, I don't know if you, a lot of people, and I guess we've made a joke out of it. Like, we're all just going to the refrigerator 5 times a day and going to snacks all day long, and we're, gaining the quarantine 15. Do you find yourself in some of those same struggles as somebody that has battled with an eating disorder, with bulimia and with binge eating, and even with orthorexia? I feel like all eating disorders are really being challenged in a moment like this, where we're kind of stuck at home and stuck with ourselves and stuck with, the cabinet and the refrigerator.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to recovery is that you're like completely out of it when you say I'm in recovery, and it's going to be a lifelong battle. In fact, it's an everyday choice to choose recovery and to choose to care for your body. And in the beginning of quarantine, I knew going into it that I don't react to change well at all. Like, my body, my emotions, my mental health, it's not compatible. So in that moment, I knew, okay, what are my resources in that moment? And I got on the phone with my therapist. I said, I need to go to therapy, or I need to do virtual therapy 2 times a week, because this 1 time per week thing isn't going to cut it right now. And I texted my dietitian, who was the dietitian who helped me through recovery. And I said, I just want you to know, like, if I start falling over the edge into thinking, I'm not good enough, or I shouldn't be eating these certain things, or maybe I have binge eating thoughts again, I'm going to be texting you. So it's all about creating a toolbox in those moments and making your loved ones aware, and making those who can support you best aware, is what's going to get you through this, because you can't do it alone. And so, yeah, I definitely dealt with those thoughts, and it was really hard, because I questioned myself if I did recovery the right way, and it was hard. However, I am where I am now because I do have the support around me, if that makes sense.
It is really important to have that support system. And I think it's also really important to have that love and compassion with yourself and know that like you've come so far and that just to preface, so I struggled with bulimia for 10 years, went into treatment, like had my own kind of process and journey with my own body, that I found myself in this quarantine and I'm home alone. So it's very easy for me to dip into the cabinet and binge and purge if I want to head down that cycle because there's nobody here to see or judge that. And I haven't. And I surprised myself in, you know, kind of getting through this without retreating to some of my old habits, whether it was binge eating, anorexia, or bulimia. I haven't retreated to any of those. And I did find myself in a situation recently where I haven't weighed myself in years, but I found myself in front of a scale and I was kind of just in this weird place mentally and I ended up weighing myself. And then I was kind of getting down on myself as like, oh, I hadn't weighed myself in so many years. And like now I'm falling down this cycle. But I think there's a lot to be said about remembering the work that you've done and trusting that you have come a long way and that you know your body and that, you know, if your body is having some sort of snack cravings, like you have to check in with yourself and be like, is this a physical craving? Is this an emotional craving? Is this a mental craving? And really kind of listen to that intuition that you work so hard to build.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what a lot of people are not realizing if they're struggling is, number one, our bodies are made to house the situations that we're in. So if we're stuck inside and we are emotional and we don't have the, you know, our everyday routine that we're normally on, food is number one, always going to be there. And I don't care what anybody says. It's fun to eat. It's social to eat. It's good to eat. And when we're stuck in a house and there's food, yeah, it's like, it's going to be our number one thing that we go to unintentionally regardless. And we would not be human if we didn't. So if you gain weight during quarantine, and like you said, the quarantine 15, I have so much to say about those memes because they're not helpful whatsoever.
Right.
It's okay. And that, I think, is the most beautiful part about this whole entire thing, is that the people who are maybe struggling most right now get to understand the root of their problems because we don't have outside distractions. We have to sit with our feelings, and maybe eating is one of the things that you resort to when you have like past traumas that you haven't dealt with yet, and you're just sitting there with it and you don't know how to navigate it. And I also said before, like, it's such a beautiful thing because how amazing is it that our bodies stretch, shrink, and just form to whatever season of life that we're in because it loves us that much.
Absolutely. I mean,
Very
and
well
I
said.
think now is a really good time to do a lot of that inner self work and really get back in tune with ourselves. Abigail, are you finding yourself like struggling physically right now? Or like
struggling
mentally as a result of, you know, feeling like this pressure of like, you know, not gaining weight when everybody feels like they're gaining weight and over snacking?
I have gained weight. Like I can see it in my face even right now. Like I know I've gained weight, but I'm not freaking out about it because, again, like we all have to understand like the circumstances are not. And like I used to love to run, and I like running, but it's like it's not like, it's hard. And I think my hardest thing right now is just mental health, not in a way of with food, but just like I look forward to going to the gym in the morning. It's my outlet of like frustration. It's my my endorphins. Like, and I struggle with seasonal depression too. So coming back to Ohio, it was raining for the first week I was here, and the first day it was sunny out. It was so funny. My mom was like, "It's insane." She's like, "I forgot how sensitive you are to all this," because like my mood just completely changed when it was sunny. And she is like, you know, and so I think that's been the struggle. It's just like being cooped up is hard for me.
Yeah.
You know, but it's 60 out, so now I'll just go lay out or something.
I know. It's so nice out, and then the rest of the week in Ohio is like raining with one day of sun after this.
Where are you based?
Columbus.
Oh, Okay, I went to Ohio State. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my sister lives in Columbus.
Crazy.
Oh, that's so funny. I did not know that.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit too. I found you on TikTok actually, and then I went to your Instagram. But talk to us about, you were talking about the memes. They're not healthy. I know you're very vocal about TikTok and its restrictions, and I think you've had two things taken off of there. Is that
More than
still
a few?
okay?
Yeah.
So talk to us about that and social media in today's time, because that's all we're doing right now is we're on social media, like
constant consumption of that content. Yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody else gotten that screen time notification and you just like put your head down?
Oh my God,
like,
I know.
No. I started putting my phone in the other room, like when I'm doing certain things. Yeah.
I get it. My screen time is up. I get it. Don't judge me right now.
Don't tell me. I know it is. I didn't need to just tell me how much up it is.
Yeah. So with TikTok, I started doing my research before I went on. I only started doing TikTok a couple months ago. Seriously, beforehand, I was just posting like funny videos of my dog and my nephew. But in doing some research, I noticed that the younger generation is mostly on TikTok, and they're at their most vulnerable state because they're in that transition period of like, who do I want to be in life? Like, who am I? And I've noticed also a lot of my followers on TikTok, they'll comment things like, well, I believe this because my mom says this, or, my friend says this, and they're not really reflecting inward and asking themselves, is that what I believe? You know what I mean? So that is where I realized that I had a massive opportunity to be a voice to them, in the fact that they get to make their own choices and that their body is okay in this weird transition, because they're going through puberty, they're going through a worldwide pandemic, like what is actually going on? And they're watching TikToks that tell them to put coffee grounds and saran wrap around their stomachs, and that'll make them lose weight overnight, and these diet teas, and these weight loss transformations. And it is just so much false knowledge on that platform because it's not regulated. It is mind-blowing to me. Every single time I wake up, I see a video that someone tags me in, and it is just absolutely not okay. This morning I woke up to someone teaching TikTok how to Photoshop their body and like making light about it. And it's not regulated. And it's mind-blowing to me that I am here making this space a more positive place where people can come as they are, and my videos are getting taken down, and so many people's videos are getting taken down. It's ridiculous. I mean, I know one of my friends who is trans, he got his video taken down multiple times. And a woman who was sharing her armpit hair, that video got taken down. And it's these things that are showing individuality in every single person that are being taken down, yet photoshopping videos are allowed and they're not being taken down. Extremely hurtful, hate speech videos are being kept up, and all of these things are just not adding up, and they're not okay. And this younger generation is seeing that. So I am so passionate about going and recording videos of my jiggling belly, my jiggling thighs, and just like informing them that they can eat even if they are hungry after eating an hour ago. They can eat even if they haven't exercised in a month or a week or 2 weeks, however long it has been. They can do things that their body is asking them to do, even though the world is telling them not to. For whatever reason, it's a money scheme.
Right.
And that's where I'm at with TikTok. I will be vocal about it. I'm going to, share my opinion and tag them, because it's not okay. It's not okay. So I'm trying to make the space as positive as possible.
what do you think of all of the shaming that's going on right now? I feel like there's this place, I feel like we're culturally, and it's reflected so heavily on social media, where like we live in this place of we think that it's a black and white world, and that there's no gray matter, and that there's no way to find a common ground with each other, especially right now. You know, I saw this post on social media, I think it was either this morning or maybe it was last night, about this guy, and he posted, you know, some people are ready to get back to normal life, and that's okay. And some people are not ready to get back to normal life, and that's okay as well, while we're all quarantined. And like, we have these differences, and instead of kind of coming and finding a middle ground and having a conversation about it, to realize that a lot of us, you know, regardless of what the issue is and whether it's a matter of politics or not, a lot of us are in more agreement than we are not. Like, if we pulled together 10 issues, we probably agree on 8 or 9 of them, but that one issue is the one that's tearing us apart. What do you think about the shaming that people do, you know, on social media, where they are going and reporting some of your content and not happy with the fact that, you know, with the message that you're putting out there? And how do you deal with that criticism that you get?
Yeah, so whether it be on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, I've been criticized for many things. You know, and every single time it's just as difficult. And it's like, it's gut wrenching knowing that someone is taking time out of their day to bring someone down that's putting positivity out there in the world. And that goes with any of my online friends. Like, I see them get put down all the time, and it's taking a step back in understanding that they are actually just behind a phone looking at your content and moving their fingers and saying you suck, because that's what they want to do with their day. And you, whoever is out there making positive content, are putting your time and energy into thinking about the emotions that people are having right now, and caring for them and catering to their needs and coming together. And that's putting a good example out to everybody. And, you know, it's really difficult because, you know, I just came across this one page, this Instagram page, that was bullying a middle schooler, I would say. And it was one of the most horrific things I had ever seen in my life, knowing that someone who knew this beautiful girl created a fake profile to hate her and to hate her body and to do all of these things. And so it got taken down, but it took a while. And I think the reason why hate is being pushed out to us more is because so many people are on social media at the moment, and there's not enough people, you know, making sure that the content people are putting out is okay. It took 4 days to get this Instagram account taken down when it should have taken an hour. So I guess that's my thoughts. And it's more of a reflection on them rather than it is you.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest piece of criticism that you get?
It's typically, so I circling back to what I had said before, and when I was at my worst, I was the most offensive. And I have been educating and doing posts on, you know, certain diets that society says is healthy when it's actually destroying your body. And it's things like, you know, well, you're wrong. You know, I'm saying keto as an example. Keto was actually invented to help children with epilepsy. Yet it is so normalized in society, and people aren't doing it correctly, and it's not monitored, and people are making books about it. So I step out on my platform and I say, hey, you don't need to do this. You can eat cheese even if you're not on keto. You can do all of these things even if you're not on keto. And, you know, your body needs carbs. And so it's like hate on those kind of things. But it's also, you know, older men who are like, I don't want a woman with
They are
rolls.
the ones that love to
or
troll.
they'll hit you up And then you deny them, and then they're like, "Well, you're just a fat, ugly bitch," and it's like, sick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like,
oh my
you know
gosh.
what, Joe from Idaho, can you calm down from your mother's basement and like you know, you're jacking off 8 times a day and you're taking a break to come and criticize me right now? Like, sit the fuck down.
No, 100%. But it's so true. And I feel like people bond in a sick way over hating on things together too. And I think that's where it's hard. And that's why I think I loved your message so much, because there wasn't your opinions, they're all opinions, but they're all factually based. And it's not just like, oh, I don't like the way this looks, or I don't like this and this is why I hate that. Is there a level of not a level, that's not a good term, but is there a time where you would ever see somebody and say, hey, yes, you need to be positive about the body you're in right now, but that's not healthy? Both in extreme circumstances, or is there not? Or what's your view on that? Like, what?
Wait, so can you repeat that again?
Sure.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So, with the body positivity, my question is there ever a time where you see a follower, or you see, a friend or someone in extreme circumstances, either extremely underweight or extremely overweight, where you would say, hey, I'm all for loving that body that you're in, but you do need to get it to a healthier place without hating yourself, or what's your outlook?
So I would never directly say that, and here's my reasoning. Right. Because I know, like, personally, getting any direct, comments about my body, if I was in a bad mental space, whether it be good or bad, I wanted to punch them in the face.
Okay.
And so whenever I talk about things like this, I say the number one thing that you can do for a friend, a family member, or whoever it is that you're trying to support, and you believe that they might not be their healthiest self, is to love them unconditionally through this season of life. To be there next to them and to, listen to them. That's the number one thing. Like, you'd be surprised the information that you get out of somebody if you just sit and let them talk, because not a lot of people let people do that, and just saying, hey, like, I'm here and I'll be silent. And if the conversation comes where, you're loving that person in the way that they need, they will start to let you in and say, hey, like, I don't know if I'm doing well. Like, and that's when, the next conversation will happen. It's a snowball effect. Okay, so do you need to see, like, a dietitian? Can I help you tell your parents? Can I help you tell the person that you're living with? How can I support you right now? Is the best question to ask in any situation. How can I support you right now?
I think the big misconception too is that, like, we think that health is really just our body, and we forget that, like, there's a mental and an emotional piece to it, and, like, that those pieces need to be addressed just as much as the physical needs to be addressed. But our culture is so focused on just the body, and I think this is kind of where even the body positivity message gets lost, is they're saying just be happy with your body without even addressing that you may not be in a great place mentally or emotionally. And it's like, you have to address those other pieces, and then, your body kind of falls into that as well. But, like, the focus on health just being about your body, whether you're, large or small or somewhere in the middle, like, everybody has a different body. Like, I know for me, it took me a long time to be okay with the fact that, like, I just have a smaller body. That's how my body is, whether I'm trying or not. And, like, people are going to fucking give me shit for it because I'm too skinny or whatever the hell they want to say. Like, whatever. I'm going to fly away like a bird once they let me out of quarantine. But, like, this is my body and I'm just going to embrace it. And I think we're all kind of on that page where we've found this comfort within our bodies. And I want to thank you, Mik, for coming on the show and kind of being so honest and vulnerable and candid with us. We definitely appreciated the conversation. Where can people keep up with you if they want to learn more about your journey?
I am most active on Instagram and TikTok. I upload YouTube videos every month.
I love that.
So you can just find me at Mik Zazon on Instagram and TikTok. It's Mik with 2 Ks, MIKKZAZON.
I love it.
Follow her. She's hilarious. And she brightens your day up. So
She's funny. She's real. She's got it all going on.
That's
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mik. Don't forget to subscribe and listen to #Adulting on all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch these videos. So be sure to listen, subscribe, give us a good review. We want more reviews, right, Abigail?
We need these 5 stars. 5 stars.
5 stars like a restaurant. 5 stars like a high-class hooker. You guys can follow me at Just Plain Zach all over the internet. I try to put out really ridiculous content to keep us laughing right now. You can follow me at Just Plain Zach, and don't forget to follow the show at The Adulting Podcast. Abigail, where can they follow you?
And you can follow me on all social platforms at Abigail_AF. And I'm trying to be as funny as you, Zach. It just doesn't always happen.
You do asparagus. Yes, I try to just keep it lighthearted, even though yesterday somebody told me to inject myself with Lysol. But, social media is a fun time.
Ew. I want to punch them.
It's a fun vibe. I'm like, you know what? Drink your 4th bottle of wine and, leave me alone. Please go and follow us at The Adulting Podcast. Go to theadultingpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter and stay up with the latest happenings on the show. And until next time, we'll be busy.
#Adulting.